Welcome to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Are we rolling on this thing? I think we are. Dex, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, buddy. I apologize for that. I had an unforeseen interruption there. I'm assuming we're up and running. Welcome to the second hour of Wide Awake News Radio. I want to welcome back Pulse Scan 72, Dex from Black Ops Trading. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Good to be back.
It's good to have you back. Look, I wanted to start off the second hour with some financial stuff, but you directed me to your website before the program tonight, and I want you to touch a little bit. Man-made, HAARP, Hurricane Sandy. Give us what you're thinking on this.
Bottom line is that hurricane was remote controlled by us. We seeded it. We kept it on track. We made it stronger, and the whole thing was nothing more than a national exercise. Basically, it was our NLE 2012. You would really want to go there with it, and it was a coordinated effort of all the states up and down the East Coast. They were all reading from the same script. If you follow all the news feeds, they were all saying the same thing, just like on 9/11. And even they brought out like the Maryland governor and stuff like that, and they were saying the same hype, saying the same thing that everyone else was saying. And the bottom line is, it was a psyop. This hurricane really wasn't a hurricane; it was more a tropical storm. Since when do you call a Category 1 hurricane catastrophic? 80-mile-an-hour winds is not catastrophic. Heck, Chicago gets 60+ mile-an-hour winds all the time, especially in the fall and winter. That's not catastrophic, is it? It's not
Nope.
catastrophic. Catastrophic is Category 5 hurricanes. Catastrophic was Katrina. Catastrophic was Andrew and Hugo. Those were catastrophic. Okay? This was not catastrophic. This was just a storm that they pumped and hyped up.
Yeah, and somebody in chat just said, Charlie, you see the track zagged at the last minute to swerve to hit Philly. All right, so let's pretend for a second here that it was just a natural event. It would have been bizarre beyond belief. They even the meteorologists that were coming out talking about it say this has never happened in the history of recorded weather in the United States, where we've had this kind of an event, this powerful of a storm. But I think that the argument that it's HAARP related or it's weather modification is very, very strong. I agree with you on this. What would be the purpose for this? Just to consolidate, to run a test, to implement these protocols that have been put into place for national emergencies?
Actually, it was a multi-purpose. The first purpose was to see if they could do it, to see if they could have two storm systems converge on one another and what the impact would be. Also, they wanted to gauge the impact on the citizenry. They wanted to gauge public response and reaction. Also, it was done as a coordinated effort to take your eyes off of other things they were doing behind the scenes, such as what's happening on the economic landscape.
Yep.
It was not an accident that they waited until the markets were closed before they released a key economic indicator on Monday. All right, I don't recall them doing that ever before. Do you?
What was the indicator? What was the indicator?
It was consumer sentiment. You don't do that. You don't do that. Those kind of things you just don't do. Also, they're talking about suspending the jobless claims for this week.
I saw
and
that.
Suspending a few other ones. And even though they said everything's going to be normal tomorrow, it still may not be. Again, the only other time they closed this exchange was during the week of 9/11. Prior to that, they closed it, during the crash of 29, the depression, all that. That was it, man. That was it. That's when you close the exchange. You don't close the exchange for a little bit of wind and some water. Come on, man. I mean, it's crazy. That's how you know, again, another key aspect of this is that it was a coordinated effort done on purpose and done easily, without a fight, without any response from anybody. No one kicked up because it was already pre-planned. You go to the website, you see on their own website, 1997, is when they planned this and put it together, and they called it Sandy. You do not name hurricanes before they happen. Hurricanes are named as they are forming.
Wait a minute.
Twice.
Where does this 1997? What is this website you're talking about? I want to see this.
It's on my blog. Go to
I'm at your blog right now.
blogspot.com, and you'll see the different stories posted about the hurricane. Go to the one showing where it was an exercise. It's a couple of videos. One, the young lady is showing you where they use the chemtrails and use them as train tracks to guide and remote control the storm, and to also cloud seed it and make it stronger. The next video you'll see, with them going back to in 1997, it was a joint government exercise, weather modification. Then there's another video in there where the government has now come out and admitted that they were cloud seeding this particular storm, but the spin that they put on it was, we were just trying to lessen its impact.
That's crazy, man. I have this. That's crazy stuff.
Thing, and now they're saying, okay, fine, you caught us, we did do it, but not for the reason you think. Come on, man, please, whatever.
Yeah, and I see this Hurricane Sandy predicted in 1997 using a drill, same track, name, the whole 9 yards. And during the break, we have a break in about 2 minutes. I'm going to look at this, and maybe we'll play a clip of this if it's conducive to doing over the air like this. But if not, get over to paulscan.blogspot.com. That's Dex's website. Dex, I'm really glad you're putting material back up on here, because you find these videos and articles like this in a lot of cases well before anybody else, and I'm glad that we have that as a resource again.
Well, I've been wanting to say a lot more things, but as you know, trying to deal with a lot of things over here. So the guy who's been taking the ball and running with it has been Greg Manarino. He's been running with it and saying a lot of the things I wanted to bring to you guys' attention, but I just couldn't, man. So I'm gonna be getting back in the swing of things here.
That's great to hear. And Greg's been on the program a couple times over the last month. We're going to continue to get him on once a month as well, because you're right. I like Greg. I think he does a good job as well. I don't know if he digs quite as deep as you do on some of this stuff, but he does a great job.
Oh yeah, and hey, I give people their props, man. If people do good work, I say so. He does good work. I've subbed him for a while now. I enjoy his videos. By the way, I almost forgot. The last video you did when you were doing a RAO situation and you were trying to get home and showing how to do alternative routes and camp out, man, right. That was an outstanding video. You should do more of those. That was like amazing. Well, I'm
glad you enjoyed it. It was, I want to do more stuff like that. Matter of fact, I have several different scenarios I want to play out. Obviously, it's real easy for me to comparatively to sit down and bust out a 6-minute commentary video than it is to do something like that. That was obviously a lot more time spent in doing that. But I'm glad people watched it, and the feedback I've except and obviously there's a prepper community that no matter what I did, it wouldn't be right. I wouldn't have the right gear and have to do the right tactics. But that wasn't the point of the video. The point of the video was having a plan, if nothing else, a plan mentally for being able to handle a breakdown situation. And God, I can't even imagine these guys that are, even where you're at. I mean, I know you're not right in the thick of the city, but man, you're in an urban area, man. There's a lot of people where you're at, and I can't imagine these people who are going to enter into a crisis and not have some kind of plan. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Dex, PulseScan 72, and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath. We have Dex, PulseScan 72, Black Ops Trader Extraordinaire is joining us. We're talking about, we were talking about hurricane, air quote, hurricane, tropical storm Sandy, taking this bizarre path into the East Coast, merging with this other storm. A lot of people think this is weather modification. Dex brings us some very compelling evidence to suggest just that. And guys, we can't cover it all in the next 45 minutes, and we're not even going to try. PulseScan.blogspot.com. You can go there and see all his source material. and evaluate it and decipher for yourself what you think is really going on. But let's move along because there's 45 minutes left. There's a ton of stuff left to cover. You know, you and I during the break, those watching on Justin TV, and I haven't even made that announcement tonight, hour and a half into it. If you're watching, or if you're listening and you want to watch us do this program live, you can go to Justin TV. Just go to Justin TV, type in Wide Awake News. It'll take you right to our channel there, and you can watch me do the program live. If you want to join the folks in chat, you can go to wideawakenews.com, click on the Wide Awake Radio, and be in that chat room. Watch us live on Justin TV. Listen on Rinse. Watch it later on YouTube. We're trying to get message out as many different ways as possible. But Dex, all right, let's move past the storm for a minute. Obviously, major event, and in a video I put out this morning at 5:00 this morning, it really hit me that we look at the apparatus that's in place when they want to disseminate information to the public. They can absolutely tell us the truth when and if they ever want to, or at least try to influence opinion. They went hog wild on this storm. It was nonstop. Everybody, every single human being, I would imagine, on the East Coast, at least was mentally prepared for what was about to hit, or at least told was about to hit. So, it shows that if we want to get true information out there, we certainly can. If we want to control the crowd, we certainly can do it. But, the things that are going to happen between now and next Tuesday, I don't think anybody understands the velocity of different things that are going on and the direction this could go. Dex?
No, not at all, man. People have no idea with all the things that are coming down the pike. Just in the last couple of days with this storm, right, all these things are happening behind the scenes. I hear about these laws and things being passed, these executive orders him putting into place. Using the storm as an opportunity to do that. The stories that are coming out are just mind-boggling. The thing with FEMA and all the, come on. When do people wake up and realize that we're being played here, we're being set up? Okay. Right now they're talking about suspending the elections. They're talking about keeping the markets closed, saying that they don't know if they can do anything with the markets. Why did they close the markets? They didn't close the markets because they were concerned about people's safety. They closed the markets because they were concerned about their money, because they know that all heck is about to break loose in the markets, and they're trying to stave it off as long as possible, because people that are in the know that the markets are ready to just utterly fall out of bed. Collapse hard. And they don't want that to happen. They're trying to stave that off. They do not want the markets to fall.
Do you think they're trying to stave this off until after Tuesday, or do you think they're working behind the scenes to keep this thing going another year or two?
They want it to go another year or two. They don't want it to fall down. Not now, not ever. They don't want it to go down, but it's going to. There's too much information out there. People are starting to panic. We're breaking all major support levels in the stock market, all of them.
What's it
Everything
doing?
From Apple to Google to the S&P to the Dow, everything's falling down hard. It's breaking support, and there is no support underneath of it, and they know that. That's why they're trying to stave it off. Because once these numbers are hit, it's like the herd effect. People stampede for the exit. How do you always say it? Katie barred the door. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And they don't want that to happen. They're doing what they can not to have a total implosion in all of the markets. The bonds, the dollar, equities, everything is like teeter-tottering over a cliff, ready to fall all at once. Like I've been warning people for the last couple of years, telling you that it's a situation where, talking about a perfect storm, a perfect financial storm. This is what it's called. This is catastrophic. Imagine the dollar and equities and gold and silver and bonds all collapsing together at the same time. There's no safe haven. Where do you go? Where do you go? If that happens, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run. It's a total attack of the financial system. That is the storm that they're trying to stave off. They don't want bonds and the dollar and precious metals and equities to fall and collapse at the same time. All right? It's not designed to be that way. It's designed so that if one is down, the other one is up. But we're in a situation now where they're all could be falling together and having fallen hard.
Are you seeing a disconnect? I mean, I don't even know if that's a relevant question because the markets have been closed for 2 days. But I mean, are we starting to see a disconnect between dollar, equities, precious metals, or are they still following the patterns they normally would be following?
They're all moving together,
which is bizarre.
The pattern they've been following. Yes, the equities and the metals are moving down together, and the dollar is trying to move up, but it's still very weak. It's falling also. It's falling. Once you go to 80, that's it.
Yeah, I'm looking through some mainstream here, media, because I'm trying to gauge here. I'm trying to get a feel for what they're wanting us to be focused on, and it is all election. We got Romney 48 and Obama 47, and you know, it's all being focused on the storm, the massive storm, 45 people, the death toll so far. The headlines, if you read the headlines, you know, this was a. Oh, really? Okay, we're going to do our break here. Wow, that was a quick segment. We're going to be back with Dex, Paul Scan 72 of YouTube, and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes, guys. Hang tight. We got Gore blaming global warming. Atlantic City mayor vows Mano Yamano showdown in storm feud with Christie. I have no idea what that's all about. They're really, really hyping this as the news that we need to be paying attention to. Not one word. I'm on Drudge right now. Not one word of what's happening in Europe, which is Italy is ready to implode. Literally ready to implode. The EU doesn't know what to do with Italy. This could all. The scenario that was in that video that you liked, that could happen tomorrow morning.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right on. I think we're still broadcasting on Justin TV.
Yes, you are live on Justin TV.
Okay. You're like a voice from on high, Gary. Yes, you are on Justin TV. Sorry.
Yeah, the European thing, I mean, they've been having earnings reports to come out, and they've been having their economic key indicators come out, too.
And they're horrible.
I'm telling you, they're horrendous. That's what I'm talking about, the perfect storm. That's why they closed our markets. It had nothing to do with that storm. They could have still had trading going on. They didn't want to. Did not want to. They said, you know what? We need to cover our behinds. You know, and is it a coincidence that Romney owns the voting machines? How is that? How is that not a conflict of interest? Dude owns the voting machines that they're going to be using for the elections. No one's even covering that. No one's covering that on the news. And he bought it right before he announced he was running. I mean, his candidacy. Come on, man.
Isn't it a Spanish company that Soros recently acquired about a year ago? That's counting. Yeah. I believe the number is 30% of the vote. 30% of the electronic vote can be counted by them. But and then all this bizarre push to have all this early voting, and then we have this this big massive storm. Talk of suspending the election. Is that? I don't think that's going to happen though. Do you think they're going to try to delay this thing a week?
If it looks like Obama is going to lose the election, they will blow something up. They'll do what they have to do. As far as I'm concerned, the storm was an epic fail. It didn't do what they wanted it to do. They were hoping it was going to be a lot more powerful, a lot more stronger than that. It didn't happen. Therefore, they need to go to Plan B. Plan B is blowing something up. So we just hope that it's not us that they try to blow up. You know what I mean? Hopefully it's some empty ship off the coast of something. Some empty military ship, false flag thing they do or something like that. But, hopefully there's no people on it. But
or an invasion. Or an invasion.
They can claim, or they can blow something up now and claim the storm did it. And now he has to call martial law and suspend elections indefinitely.
Well, were you like me? Were you sitting around all day today waiting for the news of an Atlantic or of a New Jersey nuke plant that had a Fukushima moment, or something. I've been waiting for this news to come out of some disaster that'll unfold in the next. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Dex Paul Scan 72 from YouTube, Black Op Trader extraordinaire is our guest. We're going into the final two segments here. I have a story from the IMF that I want to share, but I want to continue the conversation we were having during the break on Justin TV. Dex, you have claimed that if this storm was an engineered event, weather modification, and there's going to be people that hear us and see this on YouTube and think these guys are crazy. Look, it's a proven fact. Our government has been into weather modification going back decades, and they make billions of dollars betting on the outcome of these weather modification tricks. But you're thinking if it was some kind of an event generated to wreak havoc, it was an epic fail?
Yeah, it was an epic fail because the first thing they said was they started using the words catastrophic and storm of the century and all these things. It was an epic fail. It was none of that. It was a Category 1 hurricane barely. It was more of a tropical depression, a tropical storm. So it was an epic fail. It did not do the damage that they wanted it to do, that they were seeding it to do. It was just a bunch of hype. So now they have to go to Plan B and figure out what else they're going to do to suspend these elections and to keep people focusing on the next Apple product or something else other than what's really going on, which is economic implosion. So they have to come up with something.
Are we waiting for? I mean, are we on guard? Are we on watch for the Lehman moment? I think we. Let me answer that. Give you my opinion on it. I think we are. I'm looking at Dow Chemical announcing thousands of jobs cut. Colgate Palmolive, same thing. DuPont, same thing. Ford Motor Company, same thing. HP, Sharp Electronics, 15,000 people. Siemens AG, 10,000 people. Everything seems to be setting the stage where we're going to get over this election, air quote, hump, and we're going to realize the fiscal cliff, the European sovereign debt crisis, the unsustainability of a $1.4 trillion deficit spending every year. And it's all going to hit the fan all at the same time. And we really will have Katie bar the door. Everything is up for grabs at that point.
Absolutely. That's exactly where we already are. That's why they're trying to stave it off as long as possible to suit their ends. And they tell people, there are people that I respect, okay, that are well-meaning, okay, and they're actually trying to encourage the Christian right to vote for Romney, that he will be better.
Right.
They don't understand that he's a Republican, just like Obama is. It doesn't matter. They're both Republicans. They're the same side, different side of different sides of the same coin. So they're still in the dark about what's really going on. They're not really awake fully to what's happening. And it's sad, but I think that that's what we're going to see if we do have an election, that it's still going to go the way they want it to go. I think Obama wins the election regardless, whether he has to, say we're not going to do it and just bypass elections this year, or if they just rig the machines and say he won anyway. Any way you put it, they want him to stay in office, he will. I believe that right now all indicators are pointing to Obama being winning election. My hope and prayer is for his safety, and that this episode called Gettysburg of the Outer Limits was just an episode. And we hope that they don't pull that off, and that's not why they're working this up. Because whoever is going to be the president after him anyway is going to be setting the stage to actually start rolling out more of the New World Order, especially the control grid that is now in place, and that is waiting for it to roll out. And this would be the perfect scenario to roll it out.
In the Gettysburg episode, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Gettysburg episode. I believe it came out in 97, 96. It's called Gettysburg, and it's the Outer Limits.
Can you give us cliff notes on that?
Yes. Basically, it showed that in 2013, in November, I think it was November the 19th, something like that, during a Lincoln Memorial type celebration, the black president is assassinated.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. Black president, 2013.
Man.
And it matches the Illuminati card from the Illuminati card game, too, which shows the black president being assassinated, laying face down. And it just so happens that that black president on that Illuminati card looks exactly like our current president.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy, scary stuff. All right.
And one other thing. This is something that people are going to want to save this episode and record it and download or whatever, because you're not going to hear this anywhere else. Are you ready? Here we go. This is my Lindsey Williams moment. Here you go. Get your pen and paper out.
You're going to have to string it along. You got 3 minutes till the break, so you're going to really have to string it along.
All right, here you go. After the break, I'm going to give you the final proof that all of these events were manufactured by man and leading up to a key situation that's about to happen in our financial system and with this next election. And I'm going to give you also the information so where you can go, you can verify what I'm going to tell you. There's no secret elite person that gave me the information. The information is right there in front of your face, and I'm going to give you the information so you can go and check it out for yourself.
You might as well get started, buddy.
I'll do that after the break.
You might as well get started. Now, as far as what do you mean information that this was what's all
the final proof that all of this stuff has been planned? Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, go ahead. Start at it.
All right. What if I told you that the thing with Obama was pre-planned decades ago, just like 9/11 was pre-planned decades ago, as early as the late 70s, early 80s, that 9/11 was pre-planned.
I would say what's the proof?
Okay. And what if I told you that we also have proof that how do I say this? There's a connection between the Vatican and the White House and what's going on, and that there's a coordinated effort with our two governments and the UN, and that it all ties in together with that. And I'll give you the evidence on that too. See, like I said, a lot of things, I've been sick and stuff and dealing with other things, so I have not had the opportunity to come on a show and give this information or put it on my blog. So I have to now just kind of regurgitate all this stuff now with you in the next 3 minutes. So you have to excuse me for just shooting this stuff off. I just have so much to say. Where do I start? Okay.
Let's start with whatever Let's start with the Vatican connection, because this is one I'm.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. There is footage that shows Obama bowing to the Pope. There's also footage showing people in a private ceremony laying prostrate on the ground before the Pope. There's also video footage of Obama visiting the pyramids, and inside of the pyramids, there's supposedly ancient hieroglyphics that point to him and his wife. And furthermore, suggesting that they conjure, the spirit of the ancient pharaoh to help lead them in this task that he's supposed to do. And there's video footage of that. In addition to that, there's video footage of a coordinated effort with the United Nations. It proves that whether it be Obama's administration or the next administration, doesn't matter who it is, but that person is going to be seated and take over what Obama has put into place, being the head of the UN, the president. The president of the UN is the president of the New World Order, the president of the one world government. And he's already been put in place for that. That's already done. It's a done deal. In addition to that, the other evidence we have that suggests that all this has been coordinated and put into place is I gave you the Outer Limits episode as far as the plan to exit him, stage left next year in November. But there's also 1986 episode of Moonlighting that showed you
No, hang
Okay.
tight a minute. Hang tight a minute. I want to get these videos out, places to go look at this evidence, but I don't want to do it with the bumper music playing. So we're going to take our last break of the program. We're going to be back with Dex and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes, guys. Hang tight. Wow, wild stuff, Dex. We're still live on Justin TV. I've got written down here footage of bowing to the Pope, and also at the pyramids. And I want to know. I mean, are you going to give us a place to go look at this stuff?
Yeah, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to upload it to the blog, because I'm afraid that some of this stuff may have been taken away, so I'm going to have to re-upload it to the blog. But as far as the next thing I'm about to share with you, it's readily available. Most people already have it in their house. They just never realized it. Because I didn't realize it until I saw it. Yeah, it's crazy, man, what they're doing and what's going on right now. It's absolutely crazy. In addition to that, too, did you know that there was a reason why the Vatican said that they were going to take over and be in charge of any so-called alien visitation, and that they would be the czar to handle that, the Vatican would. There was a reason for that. And you'll see that reason after the break when I come back and share that with you.
You're Lindsay-in-us. You still got it. And I'm going to talk right now about this, because we're going to run out of time. This IMF plan, this IMF plan to conjure away debt and dethrone bankers. And so I'm just going to read a little bit of this to you, Dex, and get your take on it here. So there's a magic wand after all. A revolutionary paper by the International Monetary Fund claims that one can eliminate the net public debt of the U.S. at a stroke, and by implication do the same, a stroke of a pen, and by implication do the same for Britain, Germany, Italy, and Japan. One could slash private debt by 100% of GDP, boost growth, stabilize prices, and dethrone bankers all at the same time. It could be done cleanly and painlessly by legislative command far more quickly than anybody imagined. Now, it's too long to read the whole thing right now during this break, but basically it takes the principles of true free market capitalism, and it also takes the principles of constitutional money, which is money that is issued by government, not at debt, unlike the money that's issued now by banks at debt. In this paper written, now keep in mind, written by the IMF, by people inside the International Monetary Fund, it says that it will take the power away from the banks, the fractional reserve banking system, take the power away from them to create money out of thin air, as long as they have 10% of the reserves, and give that power back to, it keeps referring to the people, as the government as the people. But it's deep into this article before you realize that, no, wait a minute. All right, guys, kind of confused here. If you're watching on Justin TV, you heard me talking about an IMF paper that was recently released that a lot of people are salivating over. I don't know if we're going to have a chance to finish that thought. If not, I'll hang out on JTV after the program and finish up my thoughts on that. But Dex Lindsay Williams does, and he's got some information he wants to share. Just to bring it back to where we were, you're talking about there's all kinds of things that are happening, ceremonial things that are going on that are pointing to either this president or the next being pretty much put in place as head of the UN, head of the New World Order. Go ahead and continue.
Yes, and the reason being is because in order to bring their plan into place, they have to put certain things in place. So what that did was the whole thing with the 9/11. 9/11 kicked all of this off. It was showing you, the collapsing the old system to resurrect the new system. And they gave the first hint of that to the general public back in 1986 with the episode of Moonlighting. And as you know, the episode of Moonlighting it took place in L.A., Los Angeles. Well, they were reading a New York City newspaper, and it had New York 9/11 on it. And they made sure that the New York and the 9/11 was in bold type face, and the rest of it was smaller lettering, and they held the paper up for several seconds so you could see it and it could get in your spirit what they were doing and what they wanted you to see. And that is the earliest footage that we've been able to get that showed pointing to 9/11. And it's funny because after they saw the paper, they were like, and passed over it.
Yeah.
But it was right there in your face, 1986, episode of Moonlighting. Bam, reading the paper.
Yeah, and there was also things broadcast in what was a Matrix, some ID that had the same September 11th, 2001 weird dates written on identification cards. It was bizarre.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, though. When you look at how they constructed Washington, D.C., and what they put on the dollar, the fiat dollar was designed to be destroyed. That eagle that you see on that dollar is not an eagle, it's a phoenix. Phoenix is supposed to, crash and burn in the ashes and then resurrect itself. That's what that's for. That's what that's about. And if I get a chance tomorrow, I'll put that on the blog also, showing you that. That's exactly what it is that they're trying to do. Everything, the entire Washington, D.C. is a big museum and a big monument to what they're doing right now. All of this. It's not an accident. It is a conspiracy to do what they're trying to do. They're trying to take us down to bare bones level to bring in this new control grid. And that's what it's about. So what's going to happen is they're going to sell it to us, and it'll work for a brief moment. As being the perfect thing to have. But trust me, once they bring this system out, there will be no escape. There will be no way around it. There will be no way out of it. Everyone's going to get what they want. They're going to do away with the fiat currency like people want, and they're not going to have to worry about it ever again. But trust me, what's going to come and replace it, you're not going to want it. And there will be no way out, and there will be no way around it. You'll have to use it. And it's all digital, and it's all electronic. And in addition to that, one other thing, I need to put this out here so people can know it. This whole thing they've been telling you about the power grid going out and stuff like that, and solar flares and all that, it's a lie. You don't ever have to worry about, coronal mass ejections taking out the power grid. They already had contingencies for that dating back decades. Believe it or not. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Listen, I want to interrupt you here because I'm going to interrupt you here for a real good reason, actually. You're talking about everybody's going to get what they want. And those of you watching on Justin TV, you heard me alluding to this IMF paper that came out. And this is exactly what you're talking about, Dex. Exactly. I had this sent to me by somebody who was excited about this news. This is almost a Drake moment where the good guys, the white knights, were going to write in and save the day. And look, this is happening now. You have people inside the IMF writing papers that call for a return to a air quote constitutional currency, or a currency that's not issued at debt. And Dex, this plays right into it. This is the International Monetary Fund putting out this information, and in this article, they say, that in times past when these ideas were thought, that it would have been impossible because of the technology level wasn't there to go in and wipe out all this debt of nations around the world. But now it is possible, and we need if we did implement this, we would wipe away 100% of GDP debt, of sovereign debt in these nations. And implement a currency issued by government that would not be issued at debt. It all sounds exactly what the truth movement and what the freedom movement has been talking about for some years, until you get into the guts of the article. And when you get into the guts of the article, it says this would eliminate the fiat fractional reserve system that private banks have right now, giving the ability to institutions like the Federal Reserve to truly manage inflation, truly manage the velocity of money and the issuing of credit, and you wouldn't have banks running amok, issuing fractional reserve through the fractional reserve system, issuing money out of thin air. But it's a canard. It's a lie. They're not talking about doing away with the Federal Reserve System. They're talking about taking all the middlemen out, all the private banks being too big to fail or regional or otherwise, taking them out of the loop, out of the equation altogether, and giving all the power to the central banks to issue money and to control people through the issuance of that money. It has nothing to do with what our Constitution prescribes, which is, government issuing money, not at debt of, by, and for the people, and not a private central bank, which is nothing more than a private bank. So, but this, you could see how this will be sold as, look, the world has went off a cliff. We've all went off the cliff together, sovereign debt, landmine. We are doomed. So what do? We're going to forgive all the debt, everybody. No more debt. We're going to have this massive jubilee. We're going to do away with fractional reserve banking. We're going to give the central banks all the power, all the control. And you know what? It's a whole lot easier if we do this via whatever kind of chip you want to talk about, RFID chip. We're gonna do it of, by, and for the people, but it won't be. It will be of, by, and for the control by the central banks. Go ahead, Dick.
Slavery is worse than debt. So what this is, all they're doing is transferring control. At least with debt, there is the possibility and the hope of becoming debt-free and getting to the point where you owe no man. However, under a slavery system, you no longer have control, and it's not as if you owe someone something or they owe you. The difference is, in a slavery situation, they own you.
That's right.
And there's nothing you can do to get free, and that's what this new system's going to be. It's going to be they own you, and this new currency is like a brand, like being branded or being tattooed where they own you. At least now, Charlie, if I wanted to give you some money for your birthday, I could easily do that, and there are different ways and mechanisms that exist for me to get this money to you.
Right.
However, under the new system, it will be impossible for me to transfer money.
And that can only come through.
There will be no money.
That's right. And that can only listen. What Dex is talking about, obviously there's biblical connotations here, but think about it. What he's talking about, how if it sounds ridiculous, understand where we're at now 5 years ago sounded ridiculous. And the only way we can get from this point to the next level is through massive, massive crisis. Dex, I have a couple questions that Gary's doing a great job of keeping me informed that are coming in the chat. Persistent question on the Vatican connection. And before you answer that, I'm going to give you the last 2 minutes here. I want to say Eric sent me a message saying it's really great to hear you back on the program. So that was a shout out from Eric. And the question, what is the Vatican connection, or can you give us places to go to see that evidence?
Okay, that one is a little bit more complex, and I don't have enough time to go into it. Okay. But I will do my best to get it on the blog for tomorrow. But I'll give you in a nutshell. How about that?
Okay.
Okay. In a nutshell, the Vatican arm is the religious aspect of this. They're the keeper of the scrolls. The Vatican keeps all of the information for what it is they're trying to do. They're the keeper of the religious books and the spells and the incantations and all that stuff. Anyone who has any position of power has a connection that goes back to the Vatican, because the Vatican is the spiritual capital of the New World Order. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense that the Pope's coming out less than a year ago talking for the need of global financial governance. That makes complete sense.
He's the cheerleader for the government part of the system. Correct. Another way to put it is you could say the Vatican is the false prophet and the New World Order is the beast system. How about that?
that sums it up, I believe, probably very nicely. Dex, you're going to be putting more information about more information on topics we talked about tonight on your website again, correct?
Correct.
All right, it's pulsescan.blogspot.com. Check it out. He's back to updating that thing every day. A very excellent resource that we need to check out every day. Dex, thank you very much. We'll get you back on here as soon as you're able to get on.
I am back in the saddle, my man. Anytime you need me.
All right, man. We'll get you regularly scheduled once again. All right, guys. Enjoy Jeff Rins because he is coming up next. I hope everybody has a good night. Thanks for hanging out in the chat room, Justin TV. And thanks for the YouTube audience who will be watching this later on. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.
Peace.